アメリカで働くときに必要なのが H1B ビザ、専門的な仕事をする外国人向けの就労許可です。今回、その新規申請にかかる費用として、企業が10万ドル、日本円でおよそ1500万円の手数料を払うルールが発表されました。
As someone who's entered in big tech and been around people who have been on H-1B visas, here's my opinion on the executive order passed by Donald Trump. This will not have an immediate effect on H-1Bs who are currently working in the United States. What it will have an effect on are students who are international trying to get an H-1B visa. Unlike what most people are claiming, it is only a one-time fee, which means it doesn't apply to renewals or to people who already hold H-1B visas.But what does this mean going forward? Well, companies are going to have to weigh in how much they're going to pay H-1B visas in the future, and if that is worth a upfront $100,000 hit. There's also a lot of disinformation on whether or not H-1B visas get paid less upfront, and it's not true that they get paid less. They get paid basically the same upfront when they're hired, right?When you hire an H-1B visa, I'm pretty sure you have to pay them the market value of that job. However, in big tech, there's this thing called refreshers. They're typically annual, and what happens is you get a new chunk of restricted stock units that you are going to get invested over the next 4 years. This is typically where big tech shorts their international workers. And along with how much their pay gets increased when they receive a promotion,Big tech companies are still able to pay international workers less. And from my personal experience, I don't think that there's a really big discrepancy between the talent pool of international students versus domestic students. So when a big tech company decides to hire international students in droves, what I see is a company that's looking to just be able to pay these workers less down the road. I do think that there is a need to bring in talented H-1B visa holders into our country to make our big tech companies and other companies competitive. However, I do think that it has gotten out of hand, and big tech companies are just going to H-1Bs as the default so that they can save, a couple $100,000 down the line. And I see this one-time $100,000 fee as a way to incentivize initially hiring more domestic workers.I don't think now big tech companies are only going to hire domestic workers, but I think they'll probably hire more domestic workers now.
実はこの話、最初に発表された時は大混乱でした。もう働いている人の更新にもかかるの、毎年10万ドル払うの、と心配の声が広がったんです。でもその後、政府が説明を修正して、対象は新しく申請する場合だけと明確になりました。
I keep seeing stuff all over TikTok about this H-1B visa thing. What's an H-1B visa, and what do you think about what's going on?
An H-1, it's how I came to this country. I mean, not how I came to this country. I came on an F-1 visa as a student, and then when I graduated, I got an H-1B visa. An H-1B visa is like a non-immigrant visa. You're not emigrating, but you're here like temporary work permit.
Okay.
And you have to have a certain skill level. I think you have to definitely have a bachelor's degree or higher, and the job has to require those skills.And it's a process basically where the premise of the H-1B visa, why it's there, is because we don't have enough, the US domestically doesn't have enough skilled labor or skill sets in its labor force to meet that type of job position. There's not enough. There's a lot of demand, there's not enough. And it's usually in the tech world. I came in finance, right? I did mine through finance. But this is primarily tech, right? And basically allows you to work here. I think the maximum H-1B visa goes for 6 years. So you're allowed to work here but you have to qualify your employer. It's employer sponsor. Your employer has to go and say, hey, we need this person because we can't find the same person to fill the skill that we need in the US. What's happened is they're trying to charge $100,000, which is ridiculous.To me, it's ridiculous because you think about innovation in this country. You think about all these unicorn companies. These companies. Look, Elon Musk was an immigrant through an H-1B visa. Satya Nadella, through an H-1B visa, and there's countless other examples like this. Because we really lack the skill sets. Let's be honest here. The level of STEM education in this country is kind of poor.We we don't have the skill sets. And this to me, I mean, again, of course, I'm biased, right? Because I was one of those people. Did I add value to this country all these years? God knows how many jobs I've created along my position. I read in a piece of data somewhere, the average H-1B, worker over time, and the data shows that they create 1.85 more jobs than themselves throughout their lifetime in their career. So they bring so much value, and not to mention, how many people in the tech world today. If you look, I mean, you go all the way, even Jensen Huang's parents came here as immigrants. It's not just who comes in as immigrants. A lot of these immigrants come in through this program and they have children and their children excel. So I don't understand why they're doing this over some microcosm of data out there that says there's some abuse that happens. But in general, I mean, I don't have to keep even going. Just look at all the best companies, not just tech. I mean, in a lot of other companies now, most of the CEOs are immigrants, or most of the executives or the founders are immigrants. Sergey Brin, Google, right? H-1B.
Right.
Look at how much they've created. Why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense to me.
And here's the thing, I am all about eat the rich, because some corporations should be paying that. But let me tell you what the implications are for you. And you may think there are none because you're a U.S. citizen, but you receive services from people who are from other countries. Whether that is engineers or software developers or doctors or nurses or surgeons. See, here's the thing. The U.S. has spent the last 40 plus years demonizing education. They have told college students or students in general that you don't need to further your education. You can get a nice trade, and you can absolutely do that. I am all for trades. If education is not the path that you choose to take, that's fine. But to take that on as the national ideology, that has repercussions. So we often recruit from other countries who have not demonized education, people who believe in science and technology and advancements in our world. The problem is, if now those same employers are forced to pay a $100,000 stipend for each person that they employ from other countries. And when I say other countries, I mean Switzerland or Poland or Canada or any other country, because see, you think that I'm just talking about places like India or Pakistan or Indonesia. No, I'm not talking about just them. I'm talking about anyone who is not from the U.S., including majority white countries. So, yeah. We got to get rid of all the criminals. And if you think that ER wait times were long before, we haven't even seen the ramifications of this administration's cuts to Medicare and Medicaid yet. We have not even begun to see the number of hospitals that will actually close as a result of cuts to their funding.
では、この10万ドルルールで何が起きるでしょうか。まず海外の人を雇う企業にとって最初のコストがぐんと高くなるため、採用はより慎重になります。お金に余裕がある大手企業ならまだしも、中小企業や医療、教育の現場では負担が重く、人材の確保が難しくなる可能性があります。ただし、優秀な人材が必要なのは変わりません。結果的に、国内の人を多めに取りつつ、それでも必要な海外人材は狙い撃ちで取る。そんな形に変わっていくと見られます。H-1B ビザはアメリカで不足している専門職を補うための制度です。今回の変更が、企業や留学生にどんな影響を与えるのか、今後も注目が集まります。この動画を見た感想などコメントいただけると嬉しいです。最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。